Today we're heading to Córdoba, Spain, to uncover a story that's hidden in plain sight. A really dark secret, locked away inside the walls of one of its most famous and most beautiful landmarks.
So picture this. You're visiting the Alcázar of the Christian monarchs, and this is what you see. Absolutely stunning gardens, fountains, gorgeous flowers. It's the kind of place thousands of tourists walk through every single day. But what if all of that beauty was built on a foundation of pure terror? What if I told you that right there, right beneath your feet, lies a history of just unimaginable cruelty?
To get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back in time, way back, to the year 1499. A new and very powerful figure has just rolled into Córdoba, and he's about to turn the city completely upside down.
And this is where it all kicks off. The Alcázar, which used to be this grand palace for kings and queens, gets a new purpose. It's transformed into something else entirely. It's no longer a home for royalty. It's the new headquarters for the Spanish Inquisition, a place designed not for living, but for judging souls.
And the man they put in charge, well, he was something else. His name was Diego Rodríguez Lucero. And he wasn't just any inquisitor. His methods were so notoriously brutal that people gave him this chilling nickname, Lucero el Tenebroso, which means Lucero the Gloomy One. And, well, Córdoba was about to find out exactly why. So how exactly did Lucero's so-called justice system work? Well, it was terrifyingly simple. See, he didn't need proof, not at all. A quiet whisper in the right ear could land you in a torture chamber. A single rumor was enough to get a confession beaten out of you. And a mere suspicion, just a feeling someone had, yeah, that could get you sent to the stake.
And who was he going after? His primary targets were the conversos. These were Jewish families who had converted to Christianity, a lot of them under huge pressure. They were constantly being accused of heresy, of secretly practicing their old religion behind closed doors. And Lucero hunted them down without mercy, and without needing a single shred of actual evidence.
You know, his reign of terror just escalated with this horrifying speed. He shows up in 1499. By 1502, the mass burnings are already starting. Just a year later, in 1503, over 150 people had been burned alive. But believe it or not, for a guy like Lucero, this was just a warm-up.
All of this was building towards one single horrific event. An event that would be seared into the memory of Córdoba forever. A massive public ritual of judgment and fire.
The date was December 22nd, 1504. On this day, Lucero staged the largest auto de fe, or act of faith, that the city had ever seen. Now, this was supposed to be a public ceremony of punishment and penance, but what he planned was on a scale nobody could have imagined.
Let this number just sink in for a second. 267. That's how many people were paraded through the city and put on trial in one single day. And of those 267 people, 107 received the ultimate punishment. They were sentenced to be burned alive at the stake. Men, women, young, old. 107 human beings. These executions happen at a very specific place, a field, that soon earned the name El Quemadero, which literally translates to the burning place. And thousands of citizens were rounded up and forced to stand there and watch this whole horrifying spectacle unfold.
And to put that day into perspective, what happened wasn't just a local tragedy for Córdoba. It remains the largest mass execution to happen in a single auto de fe in the entire history of the Spanish Inquisition.
But you know, you can only push people so far. Terror like that can't last forever. After that day, the fear that had gripped Córdoba slowly, but surely, started to turn into rage. The people had been pushed to the brink, and they were about to push back. Hard.
Because even after that great auto de fe, Lucero didn't stop. He just kept going. More arrests, more tortures. The dungeons of the Alcázar were overflowing yet again, this time with more than 400 new prisoners, all of them just waiting for their turn to face judgment. At this point, nobody was safe, not nobles, not merchants, not even priests. And that was it. That was the final straw. In 1506, the city just exploded. The people, and I'm talking everyone from nobles to common citizens, they all united. They marched on the Alcázar. An absolutely enraged mob stormed the fortress. They smashed through the gates and just flooded the Inquisition's headquarters. And in this one incredible, heroic act, they freed every single prisoner. Over 400 people were liberated from those dungeons that day. So what happened to our guy, Lucero, the Gloomy One? Well, right in the middle of all that chaos, as the very people he had terrorized were storming his fortress, he did the only thing a coward like him could do. He scrambled out a back door and fled the city, literally running for his life.
This uprising had huge consequences. Lucero was, of course, officially fired. The crown was forced to launch a full investigation, and this whole event triggered the very first major crisis for the Spanish Inquisition. It sent shockwaves through the system. And, in some small measure of justice, some of Lucero's victims were posthumously pardoned. Their names finally cleared long after they were gone.
So why are we talking about this today? Why does this matter now? Because this history isn't just in some dusty old book. It is physically present in the modern city of Córdoba. It's right there, under your feet, as you walk through its streets.
Think about it. When you're walking through those beautiful, peaceful Alcázar gardens, you are standing directly above the dungeons where hundreds were brutally tortured. When you walk along the modern street called Ronda del Marrubio, you're on the exact site of El Quemadero, where 107 people were burned in one afternoon. And when you wander the incredible narrow streets of La Juderia, the old Jewish quarter, you are walking through the very neighborhood of the families that Lucero systematically tore apart.
It really all comes back to this one central, chilling truth. The Alcázar of Córdoba is a place where breathtaking beauty hides unimaginable horror, and where gardens literally grow on top of dungeons. Which leaves us with one final thing to think about. When we're faced with places like this, where the past and present collide so intensely, could beauty ever really erase horror? Or does it just kind of mask it, waiting for us to stop and look a little bit closer?